Good afternoon. We are bringing you commentary of Manchester United against Newcastle United today from the League Cup. I'm your host, Paul James, and I'm with your commentator for today's game, Sean Kelly. And you are listening to the Commentary Hub. Kickoff for the 2023 League Cup final is just 15 minutes away. Let's bring you the team news by joining Sean Kelly. And Sean, there's been some interesting adjustments today. The goalkeeping issue, of course, for Newcastle. But there was some doubt at the beginning of the play, whether at the beginning of the game, whether Marcus Rashford would actually play. Is he in the lineup today?
Marcus Rashford is indeed in the lineup, much to the delight of all Manchester United fans. He's been in terrific form this season, especially since the return from the World Cup and at the World Cup itself. So he is back in. Well, he remains in. Anthony comes back in from the start, which is another boost for Manchester United. We go through the team in full. We've got David De Gea in goal. We've got in defence Diogo Dalot, Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez, and Luke Shaw, which is quite probably their first choice defence these days. Midfield got Casemiro and Fred, and in front of those we've got Bruno Fernandes, Anthony, Marcus Rashford, and Wout Weghorst up front. On the bench there's Tom Heaton, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Tyrell Malacia, Sabitzer, Jadon Sancho, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Scott McTominay, and Alejandro Garnacho. And as you said, for Newcastle, well, they have had their own issues this week to deal with after Nick Pope's red card against Liverpool last week. So they have gone for Loris Karius in goal. It's a competitive debut for the German, and what a time to make it. In defence, it's the usual lineup of Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, and Dan Burn. Midfield, they welcome back Bruno Guimaraes after his 3-match ban following his red card in the semi-final. Sean Longstaff, the local hero, and Joe Linton. And then in attack, it's Alan Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson, and Miguel Almiron. On the bench for Newcastle, we've got Mark Gillespie, then Elliot Anderson, Alexander Isak, Jamal Lascelles, Javi Manquillo, Jacob Murphy, Matt Ritchie, Matt Targett, and Joe Willock. So no real surprises in the Newcastle lineup aside from the obvious after last week. What are your thoughts on that, Paul?
Well, it's definitely a job and a half for Karius. Of course, it's his first major final since the disaster against Real Madrid in the Champions League final for Liverpool. Thanks very much for that, Sean. We'll get back to Sean when the teams are coming out of the tunnel. And just to bring you up to date to exactly how both these teams reached the final. For Manchester United in the third round, they beat Aston Villa 4-2. In the fourth round, they beat Burnley 2-0. And in the quarterfinal, they took care of Charlton Athletic pretty comprehensively, 3-0 there. And in the semi-final, a comfortable 5-0 aggregate win over Nottingham Forest, 3-0 at the City Ground, 2-0 at Old Trafford. And for Newcastle United, they had a little bit more of a stumbling to the final. In the second round, Tranmere Rovers were the victims, 2-1. Crystal Palace in the quarterfinal went all the way to a shootout, which was 1-3-2. The fourth round was Bournemouth, 1-0. Quarterfinal, 2-0 against Leicester. Semi-final, 3-1 on aggregate against Southampton, which brings them to the final. And of course, for Manchester United, as you know, they've won this competition on 5 separate occasions. Only Liverpool have played more. Only Liverpool and Manchester City have actually won more, 9-8 respectively. Interesting fact, though, for Manchester United, they've actually only the 4 out of the 5 times that they've won this tournament have been in the 21st century, 1992. Before then, for Newcastle, well, for them, they haven't won a major trophy since 1955. And it's been a long time coming. They've had several trips to Wembley, 8 in fact, since the 1955 performance. And of course, they've had a trip in 74 FA Cup final, 76 League Cup final, the 1996 Charity Shield versus Manchester United, the 98 FA Cup final, and the 99 FA Cup final, which was actually against Manchester United. Manchester United won that 2-0. And the FA Cup semi-final, 2018 versus Tottenham, and 2019 versus Tottenham in the Premier League. This is the longest run of losses at Wembley in club history. Of course, 1955, the FA Cup final, they won 3-1 against Manchester City. This was 67 years and 295 days ago. In 1955, the events were that the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc allies signed the Warsaw Pact Treaty. The first Guinness Book of Records was published. Disneyland opened in California. Rosa Parks was arrested after refusing to give up her bus seat for a white passenger. Wow. The first McDonald's was erected. The average house price in the UK was only just over $2,000. So there's some interesting historical facts for you. The Looking at the scenes now at Wembley right now, it is almost looks like a sea of black and white. The calligraphy by the Newcastle fans is quite outstanding. And we're just waiting for the teams to come out here now. So we will be handing you over very shortly to Sean, who will take over from here. He'll be your match commentator, and he'll bring you all of the action. Just so you know, there is a Scottish League Cup final going on today, and I'm just going to go ahead and get you the score for that because they are at the business end of that game right now. And we'll just pull that up for you now. Okay, Scottish League Cup. It is Rangers 0, Celtic 2, Old Firm. There's inside half an hour to go on that one. And so for just looking at the form of both of these teams, it's at the moment the form for Manchester United is they've played Leeds back to back, a 2-2 at Old Trafford and 2-0 at Ellen Road. Of course, they've just recently played Barcelona twice, and they came out better in that Europa League round of 32 contest. And of course, Leicester 3-0 at home as well, with Rashford actually scoring 5 times in the last 5 games. He is in the form of his life right now. And for Newcastle, their performances in their last 5 games, they've stuttered a bit. They've slipped out of the top 4. They've beaten Southampton home and away. Of course, in the League Cup, we know about that. But they've had 2 draws, one against West Ham and one against Bournemouth, and a 2-0 loss to Liverpool along the way for them. So again, we're just waiting now for the teams to come out. They are in the tunnel now. So I'm going to hand over to your match commentator, Sean Kelly. Sean, enjoying the Wembley atmosphere there?
It's fantastic. Just looking on at as you mentioned, the Newcastle fans, the sea of black and white. It's a massive day for the club. First visit in a cup setting to the new Wembley. Of course, they went a couple of times while Tottenham were there in the Premier League, but I imagine that doesn't quite have the same feel as this in what is the club's biggest game for definitely since the cup final in '99 anyway. As we just see the teams walk out. It must be a great moment for players to suck in that atmosphere on a cup final day. As Newcastle enter the field alongside Manchester United, of course, without a domestic trophy since 1955, while Manchester United are not on as severe a drought, but for themselves, it is quite a lengthy trophy drought. You have to go back to 2017 now for their last trophy win. That was in the Europa League under Jose Mourinho. They've lost 2 finals since then. They've lost the FA Cup final to Chelsea in 2018 and lost in the Europa League final to Villarreal as well on a penalty shootout. But they come into this in the better run of form. Of course, they're flying high in 3rd in the league, still in all 4 competitions this season, while Newcastle have just stuttered recently. They've dropped out of the top 4, having looked very comfortable for a long time. Their only victories in the last 5 games are over Southampton in the League Cup in the semi-finals. Of course, they've drawn with West Ham, as Paul mentioned. Bournemouth lost to Newcastle last time out. They were already losing, or lost to Liverpool rather. Last time out, they were already losing 2-0 when Pope got sent off. And of course, you have got a feel for the England goalkeeper. That there's a lot of talk during the week about it being harsh and stuff like that. It was a definite red card. That's the letter of the law. He is suspended for this game. It would have been a farce if they'd have done anything otherwise. But on a human level, you do have to feel for Nick Pope. But that brings us to arguably one of the main storylines of the day, and that's Loris Karius making his Newcastle debut in goal. Like, what a redemption storyline this could be. He played in the Champions League final for Liverpool in 2018. Of course, made two awful errors, allowing Karim Benzema and Gareth Bale to score. Now, there was the mitigating circumstances of the concussion afterwards, but Karius was given the opportunity in the summer. He played in a pre-season friendly and made another howler for Liverpool, and you could tell confidence-wise he was really shaken. Went out on loan, eventually left. Hasn't played a competitor's game of football now in around about 2 years since he played for Union Berlin. And what an occasion now to make your Newcastle debut. And of course, the fact that Martin Dubravka came back in January but is cup tied, having played for Manchester United in the same competition. I really think it's a quirk, and it's something that football has a funny way of delivering these storylines, and this is definitely one of the odder ones. If Karius was to have a man of the match performance today or come big in the penalty shootout, it would be a very nice story for the fellow on a personal level, having endured such a difficult couple of years. And I'm sure he in no way was expecting to be playing any part in this game. He probably wouldn't have even, well, he would have made the bench after Dubravka came back, but in general, he's very much third choice at the club. Didn't even come on last week once Pope got sent off. But we're almost ready to go here now at Wembley. David Coote is today's match official, along with Nick Hopton and Tim Wood on the line, and Simon Hooper is the VAR. Team news: we've got in goal for Manchester United, we've got David De Gea. In defence, we've got Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, Rafael Varane, and Alessandro Martinez. In midfield, we've got Casemiro and Fred. And then ahead of that, we've got Bruno Fernandes, Anthony, and Marcus Rashford, with Wout Weghorst leading the line in attack. For Newcastle, as mentioned, we've got Karius in goal, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, and Dan Burn in defence. In midfield, they welcome back Bruno Guimaraes after his 3-match suspension. He'll play alongside Sean Longstaff. And in attack, we've got Miguel Almiron, Alan St. Maximin, Joe Willock, and Callum Wilson. It's a 4-3-3 for Eddie Howe, as he looks to become the first English manager to win the League Cup since Steve McLaren managed it in 2004 with Middlesbrough, who incidentally is Eric Ten Hag's assistant. As we see both sets of players come together, as football stands together and still thinks of Ukraine 1 year on from the Russian invasion. Of course, I am your alternative commentator, Sean Kelly, today for the Commentary Hub, as we are just about to get underway. You can follow us on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/the Commentary Hub. And also you can find us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. As we have another look through the teams, Manchester United looking very much gone full strength here today. There's no resting players in a cup final. As I mentioned, 6 years for them without a trophy. It's something their fans will not have been used to, despite the post Alex Ferguson years not being as successful as previously. A big day for Wout Weghorst up front. He's only notched 1 goal so far since coming in January, but his performances have generally been appreciated by the fans. But a goal today would go a long way to cementing his status as a bit of a cult hero. As for Newcastle, not much in the way of winners in that, certainly in the starting lineup. Alexander Isak has a Spanish Cup winners medal to his name, and he's on the bench today. He played for Real Sociedad when they beat their Basque rivals Athletic Bilbao in 2021, whereas Manchester United have a wealth of trophy winning experience among their ranks. The likes of Bruno Fernandes, won trophies in Portugal, Casemiro, Rafael Varane, and Jadon Sancho. All have tasted victory before. But this is a different kettle of fish for everybody concerned. It's the first domestic trophy up for grabs for the season. It's a date you always look out for in the calendar. It's almost like a turning point. After this, everything is geared towards winning the big trophies, and this marks the start of it. As we're about 30 seconds here from kickoff. If even Marcus Rashford looks on, looking to continue his great vein of form and maybe notch a first goal in a cup final. Bruno Guimaraes would be very important to Newcastle. They'll be delighted to have him back in after his red card in the semi-final. So Newcastle will be playing from left to right in their famous black and white stripes, while Manchester United get us underway playing from right to left in their red shirts, white shorts, and white socks as the ball is pumped up long and headed back towards the Newcastle area by Fred. And that's comfortable for Sven Botman, and it's an early touch for Loris Karius. 15 seconds in, rolls it out to Botman. And Botman now switches long and finds Kieran Trippier with a nice pass. Trippier heads forward, and it's a free kick. Early free kick, foul on Miguel Almiron. Bit of a knock in the back there. As Karius looks on, barks out some instructions. Nice for him to get an early touch. It wasn't the easiest header back to him, but comfortably enough dealt with by the German. And Newcastle look like they're going to take this opportunity to send the ball into the box, which they do. That will sail over everybody and out for a goal kick. So just coming up in a minute gone. Manchester United 0, Newcastle 0 here for the commentary hub in the League Cup final. Eddie Howe, as mentioned, it's his first cup final as a manager today. Did play in one in his career for Bournemouth. It was in the Football League Trophy final back against Grimsby. But this is his first one as manager. As the goal kick is played down, and here's Luke Shaw inside the Weghorst. That's a lovely pass into Rashford. Rashford plays it into the area, and it's a vital touch from Botman to put it out for a corner. Bruno Fernandes and Anthony were lurking with intent there. It's a bright start for Manchester United. Lovely pass from Weghorst round the corner, and Rashford went early, tried to find Fernandes or Anthony, but Botman was alert and puts it out for the game's first corner, coming up on 2 minutes. So it'll allow the likes of Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez to come forward. They're right in on top of Karius. Hanging on the goal lines, Varane, Weghorst, Casemiro. It can't be easy for the goalkeeper to have to deal with. Corner's taken. It's headed away by Guimaraes. St. Maximin attacks it. And now Newcastle with a chance to break. If Almiron sprinting down the left-hand side. Oh, the pass lets him down, looking to find Bruno Guimaraes. But now we have Manchester United coming the other way with Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes finds Anthony. Anthony on the right-hand side. Taking on Dan Burn. Checks back and finds Dallo. Dallo clips it forward, looking for Weghorst down the channel. It's a good run from the Dutchman. Picks it up. Finds Anthony again. Anthony inside, looking for Dallo. But that will be a goal kick. Now the game might settle down somewhat after a bit of a breathless 90 seconds there. Dan Burn, another local lad in the Newcastle team, along with Sean Longstaff, has never tasted victory against Manchester United, the giant left back he is these days. Karius sends a goal kick long upfield, looking towards Callum Wilson. But the ball is now with Manchester United with Luke Shaw in the left back position. Shaw clips it forward, but it's cut out by Trippier. And here's Bruno Guimaraes to Almiron. Trippier again. Trippier is lost out, but Guimaraes wins it back and flicks it inside to Joelinton. Back to Guimaraes. Guimaraes finds Callum Wilson. Bit of space, but Varane does well. And Anthony can come away with that, but Dan Burn stops him in his tracks, and it'll be a Manchester United throw-in. Newcastle will be looking to get the likes of St. Maximin on the ball in one-on-one positions down the wing today. Very, very exciting player. Somewhat mercurial, but on his day, a real live wire. Can win a game in an instant. Manchester United throw in with Diogo Dalot. Dalot sends it up long, looking for Weghorst. Newcastle deal with that, and it's back towards Karius again. And Karius finds Botman. Back to Karius, and Karius will clear with his left foot and found Dan Burn on the wing. There's Bruno Guimaraes to Joelinton. Joelinton turns nicely in midfield and looks to get St. Maximin away. St. Maximin down the right hand side. Controlled nicely. Inside to Almiron. St. Maximin again. Now St. Maximin dancing in the box, looking for Joelinton. And it's blocked off by Fred, who's gone down. And there will be possibly some treatment there for the Brazilian who's down, clutching his lower leg. It was actually Bruno Guimaraes who was breaking into the box, challenging two Brazilians. That was nice play from Newcastle. Good to get St. Maximin on the ball early. Danger down that left wing. Found Guimaraes. It was a fair challenge from Fred. It was a fair challenge from Guimaraes as well. Both men going for the ball. Bruno Guimaraes perhaps a little bit late. But it will be a throw-in in the opposition half for Newcastle as Eddie Howe, Jason Tyndall look on. Reasonably happy with his side start. Not much in the way of, well, nothing in the way of chances for either team. Joelinton now spreads it wide again to St. Maximin. That could be a common theme today to get, and there he goes, Alan St. Maximin tearing into the box, but Dalot does well. The sliding challenge out for a throw into Newcastle. The Portuguese defender did well there. That's not going to be an easy task up against the Frenchman. Dan Burn goes to take the throw in. I wonder, are they looking to deploy a long throw here? Yep, that is indeed what Newcastle are going to do. It's Dan Burn to hurl it into the box. Joelinton flicks on, and it's headed away by Shaw. Reacted well at the back post. Trippier now sends it back in. Flicked on again, this time by, I think it was Almiron, but Manchester United clear with Rashford. And Rashford now to Fred. Fred's caught on the ball, but it's harmless back to Shaw, who spreads it over to Raphael Varane. Varane now to Dalot in the right back position. Dalot back to David De Gea. De Gea to Martinez as Manchester United look to take the sting out of things a little bit here. Shaw carrying it forward, finds Rashford. Rashford looking for the run of Bruno Fernandes. That's cut out, dealt with by Newcastle, and now Bruno Guimaraes can get on the ball again. And tries to make a dart through midfield there, but it's fouled by Weghorst as Newcastle look to take the free kick quickly, but it's called back in the centre circle. David Coot not allowing that one to go. Free kick taken much further forward than the foul took place. Bruno's such a key component of this Newcastle side. They missed him badly there with those 3 games in the Premier League, but we'll be grateful to have him back today. So it's the flip side of the argument with Nick Pope. If suspensions only counted in the competitions they were in, Bruno would not be playing today and Pope would, so you can't have it all your own way. It's Newcastle make a mess of the clearance. Now it's Anthony on the ball for Manchester United down the right hand side. Anthony almost caught Dan Burn there, but no harm done. St. Maximin looks to come away with the ball and finds Guimaraes and St. Maximin again, and that will be another free kick, this time for the foul by Dallow. And Newcastle are looking for an early yellow card here. I don't think they're going to get one. Generally in cup finals, referees like to keep their cards in their pocket, especially early, but I could see the argument for it there, and he's got one. David Coote has given the yellow card to Diogo Dalot, and he is on a tightrope now, just 9 minutes gone in this game, but St. Maximin was looking to burst clear there. That's going to be really difficult for the Portuguese defender now against someone with the trickery of St. Maximin, who could bay you into fouls at any occasion. So really tough 90% of this game to go now for Diogo Dalot. And it's another chance for Newcastle to get the ball in the box. And they've utilised set pieces so effectively this season. And someone like Kieran Trippier who's got great delivery. This is quite difficult. It's from the halfway line, but be looking for flick-ons and like a Byrne or Botman. Goes towards the back post. But again, that free kick beats everyone. And Fabian Schär did his best to keep it in. I think he has prevented the goal kick, but it'll be a throw into Manchester United and no harm done once more. Don't want to be giving away too many free kicks to Newcastle, but positions like that on the halfway line aren't just as perilous. As Shaw will take this throw. Shaw takes it up towards Weghorst. And Schär heads it back. And now it's Fred. Fred hits it forward to Rashford, but the ball is adjudged to have gone out of play. Just as well for Newcastle, as Rashford was one-on-one there with Fabian Schär bearing down on goal. Newcastle having more possession so far, 58% of the ball. And Eddie Howe will be happy with how his side has started. And that yellow card for Dalot could be important going forward. Throw in now to Manchester United, midway through their own half. So we see some shots of the crowd. Plenty of Newcastle fans in London over the last 24 hours, making the most of their first cup final since 1999, when they played today's opponents once more. It was 2-0 that day. They'll be hoping for a different outcome today. Manchester United's treble winning year. Of course, it could be even better this year. They're still in all 4 competitions. And life under Eric Ten Hag is very rosy at the minute. A lot of probably never seen a manager as universally popular since Alex Ferguson left among Manchester United fans. Certainly no divide in the fan base on that score. Free kick taken. Here is Dalot now in the right back position. Dalot plays it back to Varane. Varane over to Lisandro Martinez. Another who's a firm favourite among supporters. Martinez goes long, looking for the run of Anthony, but it's cut out. Here's Joe Linton. Joe Linton looking for St. Maximin, but Varane read that well and intercepted, sending it forwards. It's Bruno Fernandes on the ball now, challenged by Joe Linton, but Bruno Fernandes finds Anthony. Anthony down the right-hand side, faced up by Dan Burn. Anthony goes back, looking for Dalot. Ball's chipped into the box here. Fred flicks on. Here's Weghorst. Weghorst, still a chance for Wout Weghorst. And it's saved by Loris Karius. It's the first attempt of the game. And it falls to the big Dutchman on loan up front for Manchester United. He found a little bit of space on the turn in the box. Straight down the throat of Karius. Not too difficult for the German in goal. And that will do his confidence some good, despite the ease at which it was saved. At the other end now, here's Kieran Trippier for Newcastle. No one in the box really. There's a decent chance of a cross. Clipped in there towards Wilson. Wilson flicks on. It goes, no one attacking it at the back post, and Dalot can clear. And now Newcastle tidy things up at the other end with Fabian Schär on the ball. Finds Bruno Guimaraes, and that's tidily out to Trippier and Guimaraes again. This is a nice build from Newcastle. Here's Longstaff. Almiron inside to Guimaraes. Trippier on the overlap. Trippier gets it. Crosses it in. Headed away again by Varane. Only as far as Dan Burn. That's a poor pass looking for St. Maximum, and it's out for a Manchester United throw-in. 13 minutes gone here. It's Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0 in the 2023 League Cup final. Of course, earlier on today in the Premier League, Tottenham beat their local rivals Chelsea 2-0 to leave Graham Potter's side languish in the mid-table and cement their own top four ambitions. Something Newcastle would have had maybe half an eye on as well as they come forward now with St. Maximum. Maximum back inside to Guimaraes and plays it back to Botman. And plenty of space across to Scher. Scher likes to carry the ball forward. It doesn't come very far there. It's back to his centre back partner. Nice ball into Almiron, who lays it off to Trippier. Almiron again. Taking on Luke Shaw, but Shaw wins that duel. And Manchester United have it back through Casemiro. Casemiro now finds Bruno Fernandes drifting out to the left-hand side. Try his luck out here. Fernandes again inside to Casemiro. Casemiro switches on here and does find Anthony. Anthony now inside looking for Dallo. Dangerous cross, and it's dealt with very well by Bruno Guimaraes and Fabian Schär between them. I think it was Weghorst was lurking with intent there in the middle. Dallo's cross was an excellent delivery. It was actually really, really good defending from Fabian Schär that could have gone anywhere. Fantastic from the Swiss international. The ball is now with David De Gea in the Manchester United goal. De Gea finds Martinez. Newcastle just backing off here, allowing Manchester United to carry the ball out, much like we saw at the other end, just gone. Martinez back to Varane. I'd say both sides are feeling their way into this game, despite the high energy start that we've had in the opening quarter of an hour. Still just that one chance for Weghorst. De Gea goes long this time, looking for Rashford, and Rashford's in here. Marcus Rashford in behind, force wide. Finds Anthony. Anthony with a shot, and it's straight into the arms of Karius, and that's another confidence booster for the goalkeeper, and he feeds Kieran Trippier now. Space on the right-hand side. Trippier holds it up, looking for some support. It's not forthcoming. So he's forced backwards to Fabian Schär again. The tempo of the game has slowed down somewhat in the last couple of minutes. Sven Botman carrying the ball out of defence. Feeds a nice pass into Callum Wilson. Wilson back to Longstaff. Longstaff looking out wide to St. Maximum and finds him. Now he's one-on-one against Dallo again. St. Maximum, but runs into traffic, and Manchester United have it back through Weghorst. Weghorst to Fernandes. Fernandes looking to seek out Rashford again, but that's blocked by Dan Burn. And Bruno Guimaraes can take the ball, and Almiron now running at Luke Shaw. It's a 2 against 1. Trippier on the outside. Kieran Trippier on the ball. Looking to find Almiron again. That's unfortunate. It trickles straight through to De Gea. It was a nice idea from the Newcastle fullback. And he and Almiron do look dangerous on that side. They seem to be getting a lot of 2 against 1s against Luke Shaw, and that might be something they look to exploit. De Gea weighs up what to do with this, and it goes long once more towards Weghorst, but he's grappling with Fabian Schär, and he's not happy there, the Dutchman, but nothing doing from the referee. And that's great tracking back by Anthony. Wins the ball. Casemiro steps in ahead of Burn. Casemiro looking for Rashford. The Trippier. Cool defending there to intercept the pass and turn and get Newcastle going the other way with Guimaraes. Guimaraes fouled by Fred. And again, Newcastle go looking for the card. I don't think they're going to get one this time. It is similar to the one that Dallo was booked for, and it's about the 4th foul of that kind of nature. Not so much promising attacks, but Newcastle building up a head of steam and just getting stopped in their tracks. Here's Longstaff now on the ball. Longstaff down the channel looking for Callum Wilson. Martinez comes out and deals with that. And it will be a throw in to Newcastle. Anthony looks in a bit of discomfort there. Seems to be holding, looks like possibly a groin muscle. Manchester United will be hoping that's an impact injury rather than a muscle injury, because if it is, then you would imagine that the Brazilian will not last too much longer in this cup final. But Newcastle have it now with Sven Botman. Botman over to Dan Burn. Burn looking for St. Maximum. That's strong defender from Dallo, getting in there ahead of the Frenchman, winning the ball and getting his side off the other direction. It's the run made by Bruno Fernandes. It's good defending by Burn. And it'll be a Newcastle throw-in. Just under 20 minutes gone here. It's Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. I'd like to thank our sponsors for today, which are, if you just bear with me one sec, as Newcastle come forward. It's David De Gea. Now out towards Luke Shaw. Shaw turns inside back towards Martinez. Martinez to Rashford. Fred turning back inside. It'll be a free kick to Manchester United. "20 minutes gone here in the League Cup final at Wembley. Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. I'm your alternative commentator, Sean Kelly, bringing you coverage today. And the first showpiece event of the season. As Anthony now looks to have shaken off that injury. Cutting inside from the right, but Newcastle deal with that. And now it's Bruno Guimaraes who's down. And this will be a major concern for any Newcastle supporter. They will not want to see their Brazilian down, and he's gone down innocuously. So he'll get some treatment, and Newcastle will be waiting with bated breath on the outcome of this. Of course, only just back from suspension, so should be well rested, but you would worry about perhaps maybe just lacking that bit of match sharpness. Looking at options on the bench for Newcastle, you've got Alexander Isak, but that would require a major change in shape for Newcastle. Other options include got Jacob Murphy, Matt Ritchie, Joe Willock, I suppose, is the other option who could come on. I did mistakenly include him in the starting lineup in the beginning. Apologies for that. But Willock would be the obvious replacement here. Of course, John Joe Shelvey would have been an option had he remained at the club, but Shelvey departed in January to go to Nottingham Forest. So it'll be interesting here to see what comes of Bruno Guimaraes. As he makes his way over towards Eddie Howe and has a chat with his manager. It looks as if he's going to continue. And he is. He runs back onto the field. So it's nice for the cup final as well, because you want the best players on the field. Make for a better game of it. So as mentioned, Commentary Services would like to thank our broadcast partners for this season, JB Sports and Storm FM. And today's player of the match sponsor later on on the hub is sponsored by Commentary Services. So thank you very much to all involved there. As play gets back underway now with Martinez. Martinez finds Varane just midway through the first half. Game has gone into a bit of a lull following those couple of stoppages. And Newcastle can get on the ball and build another attack through Sven Botman. Botman to St. Maximin. Lovely layoff to Joe Linton. Joe Linton comes back, finds Byrne, and now it's St. Maximin again, and he can attack Diogo Dalot in that wing. But there's three Manchester United players around him. St. Maximin still gets on the ball. Joe Linton looking for a nice turn, but Manchester United come away with it now with Weghorst. Weghorst lays it off to Fred. Fred inside for Casemiro. Oh, it's a late challenge. The referee going to let that one go. He does. St. Maximin switches it, looking for Almiron. It's a good header by Shaw. Newcastle complaining potentially of a handball there, but not too much in the way of complaints. And things settle down again now with Fabian Schär. Pops the ball off to Botman, back to Schär, and Botman again. Botman out to Dan Byrne at left back. Force backwards to Botman again. And Botman goes wide, looking for Trippier, and it's a nice touch by the England fullback. Chips it inside to Longstaff. It's a nice pass. Looking for Callum Wilson on the wing, but it's intercepted by Shaw, being Newcastle throw-in, which Trippier will come forwards to take. There's Newcastle yet they have a shot on target in this game, but should still be relatively pleased with how the opening 25 minutes have gone. Botman now comes into the centre circle, approaches the Manchester United half, finds Joe Linton. Joe Linton back to Schär. And this is where Schär can be dangerous, charging forward. Lovely pass, finds Almiron. Almiron out to Trippier. Trippier with a cross. Good header by Fabian Schär. And it's a bit of a clash there between himself and Lisandro Martinez. Schär continued his run forwards there after finding Almiron with a pass. And he is a threat from doing that, whether it's shooting from outside the box or getting into the box himself. And that was a heavy challenge between himself and Lisandro Martinez. Hopefully both players are okay after that clash of heads, both down getting treatment now. Of course, we saw Cesar Azpilicueta suffer quite a nasty looking head injury last week and missed today's game. So it's good to see head injuries and concussion taken a bit more seriously in football these days, but for many, still not half enough being done. Yes, Martinez is getting some treatment. I wonder has he been cut in that incident? Schär remains down. Martinez is sitting upright, which is nice. Schär does look okay. There's no worries of either player having been knocked out or anything there. This Casemiro chats the referee, another player back after suspension. He's been playing Manchester United's European games, but had a domestic ban up until today after his red card against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. Manchester United buoyed by the midweek win over Barcelona, coming from behind after a early Robert Lewandowski penalty to take their place in the last 16 of the Europa League, and they'll face Spanish opposition once more in the next round as they welcome Real Betis to Old Trafford before making the trip to Andalusia for the second leg. Alex Ferguson in the crowd, of course, the very successful manager of Manchester United in his time, won several League Cups during his tenure, and Wembley was a regular haunt for the Scottish manager. This is Erik ten Hag's first visit as Manchester United boss and looking to become the first Dutchman to win the tournament following Ruud Gullit's appearance in a final many moons ago as Newcastle manager. Both players remain down here, so you'd be thinking there's going to be a fair bit of time added on, especially this last 6-7 minutes. Has not been much football played. A lot of stoppages, a lot of free kicks, throw-ins. That should have an impact on first half stoppage time. You wonder what that will do for the atmosphere. I suppose it'll allow fans to regain their breath and take a moment, but you want the game flowing in these circumstances. It's good to see Cher now back on his feet. He's definitely suffered some sort of laceration to the face, but dealt with by the Newcastle medical team. And you would imagine he will be okay to play on. Martinez also looks raring to go, sitting on the touchline waiting to regain his place on the field. As we approach 29 minutes played here at Wembley, it's Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. As I bring you alternative commentary for the Commentary Hub. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Commentary Hub, or follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. As play will get underway again now with David De Gea to take the goal kick. Martinez makes his way back onto the field. Newcastle launch it forward now, back where it came from through Trippier. Wilson's up challenging with Varane. That's good play by the Newcastle striker to win the throw-in deep in opposition territory. As Fabian Schär returns to the field. Still looks in a bit of discomfort, but he'll battle bravely on, I'm sure. Makes his way back to the heart of the defence alongside Sven Botman. Throw-in taken. It's cleared by Martinez, hung up in the air. And now Fred can complete the job and finds Weghorst. Weghorst is robbed of it by Schär. Here's Bruno Guimaraes to Joelinton. Joelinton wide to St. Maximin. St. Maximin to the overlapping Dan Burn. But his cross is easily cut out, and Manchester United can come away with the ball now through Diogo Dalot. Dalot pumps it long, looking for Rashford. That's dealt with by Trippier. Trippier inside to St. Maximin now. St. Maximin back to Botman. And Botman spreads the play nicely to Kieran Trippier again, who can come forwards. Almiron ahead of him, checks back inside. Finds Sean Longstaff. Longstaff wide to Almiron. Almiron inside to Bruno Guimaraes. There's Trippier. Back to Bruno. Bruno plays it back to Schär. Just inside the Manchester United half. Schär comes forward again now. That's nicely knocked off by Almiron. Here's Longstaff. Longstaff, lovely ball across. No one on the end of it. St. Maximin. Brilliant skill. Alan St. Maximin. Saved by De Gea. Guimaraes volleys it over the crossbar. Newcastle's best opening of the game there just after half an hour. Some wonderful football. A great cross in at the start of this from Sean Longstaff. Just drilled across the 6-yard box. Nobody on the end of that. It's quite disappointing. And then brilliant skill from St. Maximin. De Gea was equal to the shot. And Guimaraes hooked the volley over the crossbar, which was difficult, but that was absolutely delightful from Alan St. Maximin in the area to get away from Diogo Dalot. And it's a strong arm from De Gea to get that ball saved and up and away. It's good from the Spanish goalkeeper. Manchester United have it now through Casemiro. Casemiro to Rashford, who's been fairly quiet so far. And it's part of the reason why, although that's given as a foul by Bruno Guimaraes. Both men with bleached blonde hair in the middle of the park for Newcastle. As Rashford tried to take on Kieran Trippier and he was bumped by Guimaraes. So you could argue that was shoulder to shoulder, but referee thinks otherwise. So it'll be a free kick to Manchester United. First one they've had in a somewhat dangerous attacking position. It's Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes stand over this. You would imagine it would favour Fernandes, but no, Shaw takes. It's a good cross, a goal! Manchester United take the lead, and it's Casemiro with a header. A wonderful delivery from Luke Shaw, and Casemiro gets his head on it and heads Manchester United into the lead after 32 minutes. Well, it was their first real opportunity of the game to get a ball into the box from a free kick out wide, and Shaw with an immaculate cross into the middle. And Casemiro with a good header past Karius. It's 1-0. He was brought in, big game player from Real Madrid, and he has duly delivered here today. As we, of course, have the VAR look at it. Oh, it's a great header from Casemiro. Shaw with the cross, and it does look okay, but the lines will be drawn. Certainly someone offside in the middle, but it's not him. So it's a case of whether Casemiro has gone just a fraction too early or not. We await the word from Simon Hooper in the VAR room. Manchester United fans will be sitting nervously now to wait the outcome of this. This is being checked over quite rigorously, as of course it should be. So you wait these days to see the line, if it's going to turn green or red to indicate that it's disallowed. And it looks good. This goal is going to be given. It's onside from Casemiro, and Manchester United will take the lead. Casemiro punches the air in celebration, and the red half of the stadium go wild once more as the goal is confirmed and Manchester United go into the lead. Newcastle, who've done most of the early running here in the first half, but haven't created much apart from just now, but Manchester United show that bit of ruthlessness. One attacking free kick into the box, and Casemiro with a header. As mentioned, brought in from Real Madrid with that winning mentality, won the Champions League multiple times, won a Spanish Cup, won league championships in Spain. They were really lacking a defensive midfielder over the last few years. He was brought in much to the surprise of many. Many thought leaving Real. He might have been past his best, but seemingly not, as Newcastle look to bounce back immediately here through Trippier. Trippier to Almiron. Almiron checks back on his left foot, and it's a poor layoff, and Trippier does well. Trippier finds Joelinton, and Manchester United clear it only as far as Trippier again. Can he get it into the box this time? Finds Almiron again. Almiron coming in his left foot, finds Bruno Guimaraes. Guimaraes now to Longstaff. It's Joelinton to Dan Burn. Burn to St. Maximin. It's good defending by Manchester United, but it's a nice turn by St. Maximin. Couldn't quite get away though. Dalot stuck to him quite tightly. It's a throw in, and it's a yellow card here for, is it Bruno Fernandes or Fred? Fred, I think it is, who's got the booking. I'll have to have a look back and see what that was for. I don't know if it was for dissent or possibly a foul in the build up to the previous move. But that's a second Manchester United player in the book through Fred, as he joins Diogo Dalot on that disciplinary tightrope. And Lissandro Martinez this time commits the foul on Callum Wilson, coming through the back of the England international. And it'll be a free kick to Newcastle about 40 yards from goal. It's too far out, you'd imagine, for Kieran Trippier to try a shot. And it's also not the best angle in terms of getting the ball into the box. You probably wanted another few yards to the right. But they'll take the opportunity. Let's see what they can muster up. Trippier will be over it. 37 minutes gone here. Manchester United 1, Newcastle 0. Goal from Casemiro. Header from a Luke Shaw free kick. And Newcastle will look to replicate that now through Trippier. One England fullback to another. Got Dan Burn in there. Oh, it's lovely. It's played short. Inside chance here. Shot. It's over the crossbar from Almiron on his weaker right foot. He's looking for the corner, but it's not going to be given. It's going to be a goal kick. That was quite inventive from Newcastle. As we look back on Casemiro's goal, I was advocating an in-swinger from Bruno Fernandes, but it's a great delivery from Shaw. Wonderful free kick, and Casemiro looked kind of off balance, almost heading that. Yeah, it's a good, really good header from the Brazilian. Right into the corner. Karius, absolutely no chance. And first goal was always going to be key in a game like this, and it's gone the way of Manchester United. This Newcastle fans look a bit deflated in midfield, or in the stands. But a long way to go yet. Chance here for Manchester United. Oh, it's 2-0. They've struck again through Marcus Rashford. The man in form has beaten Karius. And just like that, it's Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. Well, what a season the England international is having. It's goal number 25 in what is a remarkable campaign. After struggling so much in the last couple of years and many questioning his value to this Manchester United team, Rashford has struck once again. 3 trophies won in his Manchester United career, and it is a first goal in a final for the England international. Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0, and now it looks a long way back for the Toon Army and their travelling fans. Excellent build up on the left hand side. Rashford got inside the box and beat Karius at his near post, possibly with the aid of a slight deflection. But nevertheless, he has doubled his side's lead at Wembley. A first goal in a final for Rashford, with that now, which is going to end up becoming an iconic celebration in the corner as the red flags are the one now being swung at Wembley. And Newcastle have it all to do if they're to get back into this cup final. Just 10 minutes ago, it was 0-0 here. Not much was happening, and it's a free kick to Manchester United for a foul by Cher, but now all of a sudden, it's a long, long way back for Eddie Howe's side. And the next goal is going to be absolutely crucial in this game, you feel. If Manchester United were to get it, that's lights out. If Newcastle could get one, if they could get one just before half time, it would be ideal, but they are going to have to score the next goal in this game if they're to stand any chance. Cher goes long. Just haven't created enough, really, bar that one. It was one attack that led to a flurry of chances, but not got the ball to St. Maximum enough. Callum Wilson's been feeding off scraps up front. Almiron has linked up well with Kieran Trippier, but it's been very, very wide. As you can see there, Manchester United 4 shots on target. Newcastle just the one that was from St. Maximum. And they have a chance here to get him on the ball, but he turns inside quite nicely actually to Guimaraes. It's back to Fabian Cher. Cher plays it to Botman. And Botman now chips it long, looking for Almiron, but David De Gea claimed that. And De Gea with a long throw out to Luke Shaw to get a side on the attack once more. It comes forward now with Wilson. Wilson one against one, but it's excellent from Casemiro to get back and help and make the challenge and block the pass off. It's outstanding play from the Brazilian midfielder. As Newcastle look to recycle and get going once more through Botman. Botman to Cher, back to Botman again. Botman chips it out wide, looking for Trippier. And Rashford's the one tackling back there. And that looks like it'd be a Newcastle corner. It is. It's a Newcastle corner on this right-hand side. Trippier will go for the outswinger. It's good defending from Rashford to get back there, showing his worth at both ends of the pitch. Trippier takes it short to Almiron. Trippier with a cross. Oh, it's a good header. It's headed wide. It looks like Dan Burn with the chance it was. Tallest man on the field with a header inside the 6-yard box. But just couldn't direct it on goal. It's headed wide. It was good defender from Luke Shaw. He was touched tight to the Newcastle left back. It did make it more difficult for him, perhaps even had it been on target. Diogo Dalot got back on the line, but another decent opportunity for Newcastle. Not taken. Byrne would have been a popular goal scorer, as would anyone, I suppose, but being a local lad, it would probably mean that bit more to the Newcastle fans. So Eddie Howe's got a serious team talk on his hands now at half time. You wonder, would we see the likes of Alexander Isak make an appearance even for the start of the second half? Shaw now grapples with Bruno Guimaraes and comes out victorious with a Manchester United throw-in. Luke Shaw having an excellent season under Erik ten Hag. After a difficult start, it looked like he might have lost his place to Tyrell Malacia, but he's fought his way back in and automatic first choice now, as we see Alan Shearer in the crowd there. Newcastle's all-time top scorer, sitting beside former goalkeeper Steve Harper. It's Byrne now on the ball to Joe Linton. Dan Byrne again. Lovely return pass to Joe Linton. Can he get there before Dalot? He can. And turns inside Diogo Dalot. It's good play from the Brazilian, but runs out of room, and it's a Manchester United goal kick. Excellent again from Casemiro. And you can see why he's a firm favourite among the Manchester United supporters. He's got that. It's world-class ability and it's world-class mentality. And that's come from his days at Real Madrid. Used to fighting it out for the biggest trophies and the biggest games. And he's really stepped up today. Not just with his goal, but his all-round play. Passing range is also seriously underrated. And what a stat that is. He's played in 12 major finals in his career and he's won 10 of them. Well, they're well on their way to making that 11 today. It's the fourth official puts up the board, and it's 5 minutes. It's going to be added on at the end of this first half, which is no great surprise considering the stoppages for injuries for the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, and then that clash of heads between Fabian Schär and Lisandro Martinez. There's Longstaff on the ground, which caused my confusion. A clash with Fred. It looked like a fairly innocuous 50-50. Yeah, there's not much in that. Longstaff went down, actually caught Fred on his way down. There's certainly no hint of foul play there. But this is just going to lead to more time added on at the end of this half. So we've eaten into a minute of the 5 allotted for stoppage time. It's Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. And I'd like to thank today's player of the match sponsor on the hub, sponsored by Commentary Services. And Commentary Services would like to thank our broadcast partners for the season, JB Sports and Storm FM. So both players look to get some water on board before the half-time interval. Longstaff makes his way off the pitch as is required following getting treatment. And play will restart with Luke Shaw, who will take a throw-in for Manchester United. Longstaff looks on and will be eager to get back on the pitch to make it 11v11 again. So you can Shaw find. Looks for Bruno Fernandes. Lovely flick inside to Weghorst. Bruno Fernandes again. Plays it to Fred, looking for Fernandes once more. Good defended by Newcastle to block off that lane. And Varane's pass is played forward. It's harmlessly straight through to Karius. Karius finds Botman to Share. Share goes long, looking for Wilson, but nothing doing there. Manchester United will take the ball through Luke Shaw to Marcus Rashford. Rashford plays it back to Varane. Varane to De Gea. Inside to Casemiro. It's flicked over. Varane once more. Now it's Newcastle won it back through St. Maximin. St. Maximin goes inside, looking for Bruno Guimaraes. Manchester United have done that well. They've clogged up the midfield at times, not giving Newcastle much space in the centre. There's Botman now. Botman wide, but it's forcing St. Maximin backwards. St. Maximin again. It's good defender from Anthony. Doesn't win the ball though. It's Anthony does win it back off Dan Burn this time. That's a lovely flick. And Manchester United could be away again here through Weghorst. Weghorst, 3 against 3. Weghorst with a shot. Oh, it's a fantastic save by Karius. A wonderful effort from Wout Weghorst. And that could have been game over just on the stroke of half time. Didn't have the pace to go all the way, so turn back in. It's a great effort and a very good save from Karius. Keep his side in it. It'll be a corner to Manchester United with about 70 seconds left in this first half. Be Bruno Fernandes who will take. In swinger from the left. Fernandes delivers. Headed away by Newcastle. As far as Shaw. Shaw to Fred. Back out wide to Fernandes again. He can get the ball back in the box. Instead, plays it short and they give and go. There's a miscommunication there and Newcastle can come away now and the ball is cleared by Fabian Schär. Here's Almiron. Shaw, good defending again. Shaw's had a really steady game so far. And he's on the ball once more now. And chips it inside to Weghorst. Weghorst looking for Rashford. Weghorst again. Casemiro now helping it forwards. Rashford up for the challenge. Bruno Fernandes, nice sliding one there to get it away to Anthony. Anthony teasing Dan Burn with trickery and does absolutely brilliantly to get away from the big man. And Joe Linton took a bit of exception to that. To try and win the ball back, and it is a foul from the Brazilian midfielder on Casemiro. And there's just a little bit of a scuffle after that, and it's a booking for Joe Linton, which seems a bit harsh unless it was for the overzealousness in the previous challenge, but it really didn't seem worthy of a yellow card, that one. He's pulled him back by the neck, I suppose, but I just think the threshold must be quite low for yellow cards if that's going to be given as one. So we approach the end of this first half. We've played the 5 minutes. Of course, we had about another minute or so stoppage for the injury to Sean Longstaff. Looking back on that piece of skill there by Anthony, it really is a delight to watch players like that. It's probably not enough skillful players in today's game. It's a lot about systems, but it's quite a good throwback to see someone with that level of skill. As the whistle goes for half time, it's Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. Goals from Casemiro and Marcus Rashford, of course, giving Manchester United complete control here after the opening 45 minutes. It was quite an even game up to that point, but Casemiro's header from a Luke Shaw free kick, then Marcus Rashford's finish in the box, which perhaps Karius could have done better with, sees Manchester United go in at half-time, 2 goals in front.
Thanks very much, Sean. And I suppose it wouldn't be a cup final without a little bit of VAR controversy. Can I ask, do you think that was a goal, or do you think it was perhaps offside?
No, it looked good enough to me. I mean, it was very, very close. Generally, I think with the offsides, either it's offside or it's not. They've got the technology, bar the odd time, like in the Arsenal game where they forget to draw the lines. It looked it looked good. It looked okay anyway. It was extremely tight, but with the technology they have at hand, they probably should get those decisions right. And I'd like to think they did on this occasion.
And the two goals 6 minutes apart, Casemiro and Rashford, brilliant finish by Rashford, took a vicious deflection. One would feel quite sorry for Karius in that situation. But do you think Newcastle on the whole can feel a little bit aggrieved about how the first half has gone, or do you feel it's the right result so far?
It's probably not a 2 goal margin. I don't even think Manchester United necessarily deserve to be in front, but they've been clinical and taken their chances when they've come. They haven't created an awful lot. But I think at this point, Newcastle should be just happy that they're still in it after that wonderful save from Karius there at the end of the half. Uh, they should be reasonably happy. They're just not creating that much going forwards. Almiron's looked quite bright, but it's all away from goal. And St. Maximum as well. He's looked quite tricky. Get that one opportunity in the box, but Callum Wilson's getting very little service. That one cross from Longstaff that maybe you should say he should be attacking in the 6 yard box because it was devilish ball in. But
Mm.
aside from that, he's not really getting much in the way of opportunities. And I do think possibly Alexander Isak might come on now at the start of the second half.
Well, you just answered the next question I was going to ask you, Sean. Would you make any changes, or would you just bring on Isak, or might you bring on perhaps a more creative midfielder to bring Wilson into the game?
It's a tough one. Looking at their bench, you've got the likes of Matt Ritchie and Jacob Murphy are both wide men. I wouldn't take St. Maximin or Almiron off. So then you're looking at maybe Joe Willock for Sean Longstaff, maybe. Aside from that, they've not got loads of attacking options on there. So you are probably looking at Isak, and then do you bring him on and pair him with Wilson, or do you go like for like? It's a difficult call for Eddie Howe. You don't want to go too gun ho at half time because you could very quickly be out of the final altogether come the hour mark. So I
Mm,
wonder perhaps he might leave it to 60 minutes and then go for it. He's
mm.
generally been quite cautious as Newcastle manager, so I'm guessing that would stick with what we've seen so far from him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Often the hour mark is a sort of benchmark, isn't it, for making the substitutions in this position? Okay, well, we're going to let Sean rest his voice for a little while, and you'll hear from him again at the start of the second half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the halftime scores for you. I'm going to go through some full-time scores and some halftime scores. At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today, Tottenham Hotspur continued to pile on the misery on Graham Potter. A 2-0 victory today for Tottenham. Goals on 46 minutes by Oliver Skip and Harry Kane on 82 minutes. And, well, one must be wondering whether Graham Potter's position now is sort of hanging from a thread. There has been some pretty ugly things happening surrounding Harry Potter right now from some of the Chelsea fans. Obviously, we don't want to see that. Other scores in League 1. Lorient 0, Auxerre 1. AC Alsasio 2, Troyes 1. Clermont 1, Strasbourg 1. Nantes 0, Rennes 1. Reims 3, Toulouse 0. A latest score right now on 65 minutes is Monaco 0, Nice 3. Now, there is another game in League 1 this evening at Velodrome, and it is Marseille versus Paris Saint-Germain. That will kick off at 7:45 p.m. UK time, 8:45 Central European time. Let's move on to the Bundesliga. And earlier on today, Freiburg 1, Bayer Leverkusen 1. The big game in Germany this weekend, first versus third. You wouldn't think so looking at the score. It's Bayern Munich 3, Union Berlin 0. And just going to take a look at the Italian Serie A. We've got some finals and the latest score. Bologna 1, Internazionale 0. Salernitana 3, Monza 0. That's a full time. Latest, only 31 minutes gone, is Udinese 1, Spezia 1. And later this evening, it is AC Milan versus Atalanta. That's at 7:45 UK time, 8:45 Central European time. And in the Scottish League Cup final, that match has now been settled. The Old Firm match between Rangers and Celtic have come out just better off with a 2-1 victory over their city rivals, Rangers. In La Liga, there is some full time and a latest. Atletico Bilbao 2, Girona 3, Celta Vigo 3, Valladolid 0. That's the final also. Just kicking off in Almeria against Barcelona. There's only 2 minutes gone there, so it's still 0-0. And later on this evening, it's Sevilla versus Osasuna. That's at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Central European time. So, just before we go on a break, I just want to take a look at some of the stats from this first half. There has been it's been very interesting and perhaps a little harsh on Newcastle to be 2-0 down. Looking at this, the Newcastle have had the better possession with 60% possession. 7 goal attempts to Manchester United's 5. It seems that Manchester United really have taken more of their chances than Newcastle. 4 shots on goal, 1 for Newcastle, and a blocked shot as well for Newcastle. But the game itself now is hanging in a balance, and Newcastle need the next goal. So we're going to take a short break. I'll be right back with you. We'll take a 5 minutes break, and then we'll be back to get ready for the second half. See you soon. Welcome back. The players are on the pitch now. The Manchester United players just getting onto the pitch right now. Just before we rejoin Sean for the second half, we'll just let you know what's coming up on the channel. On Tuesday, Fulham versus Leeds in the FA Cup, because it's FA Cup week coming up. That's going to be with Nick and myself. On Wednesday, it is Burnley versus Fleetwood. Now, me and Ross will be in that one. And the rest of the network, that's on TC Hub 2, by the way, TC Hub 2 only. The rest of the network has Manchester United versus West Ham, with Nick in the presenter chair and Trevor Sports in commentary. We're now going to get back to Sean. He's our match day commentator for the second half. Sean, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, well, almost all set now for the second half as Newcastle look to get back into this. Two goals down. It does seem a long way back now for the Toon Army, but Alexander Isak, as we mentioned, is on the pitch now, and he is going to make his entrance for the second half. It did seem the obvious move from Eddie Howe. It's just a question of, has he gone for broke already, or has he just gone like for like and replaced Callum Wilson up front? Isak hasn't made that many appearances in his debut season. He's struggled with injuries here and there, but he has looked a serious threat. He made a big impact in the semi-final, setting up the goal for Joe Linton. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka is also coming on here at halftime. Presumably, he is going to replace Diogo Dalot, who's on a yellow card. Dalot did play well in that first half, but that's not really a risk worth taking when you've got the likes of St. Maximum. And indeed, there's confirmation that Diogo Dalot has made way to be replaced by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who has also undergone a resurgence in recent months. And Sean Longstaff has come off with Isak coming on. So that is a bit of a gamble now from Eddie Howe. And fair play to him. Like, you're paid to make the big decisions, and he has made one there. So Longstaff off, Isak on. So whether that's going to be two up front, or we have seen Isak play wide on the right, and we might see Almiron come more central. But it's something that's changed anyway as the second half gets underway again. Newcastle playing from left to right, and Manchester United playing from right to left. It's Fabian Schär sends the ball forwards, having a look to see what shape Newcastle have gone with, and it looks like, let's interrupt myself there, as Marcus Rashford's in the box, plays it back to Fred, and that's a feeble effort from the Brazilian midfielder. It was a real chance, just 25 seconds into the second half there for Fred, and that could have put the game beyond doubt even at this stage. It's perhaps a bit harsh on him, is at the edge of the box, but he was under no pressure there, skewed a shot horribly wide. But Almiron looks to be still operating from that right hand side, so it does seem as if it's two up front now for Newcastle, with Isak joining Callum Wilson. So it should give the Manchester United defenders something more to think about. Unfortunately for Sean Longstaff, his final is over at the halfway stage. So Anthony comes forward now. And I mentioned at the start of the game the lack of trophy winning experience in that Newcastle team, with only really Isak with anything to show for it. Almiron won a league with Atlanta in America, but other than that, nothing really. Fabian Schär has lost a couple of Swiss Cup finals. Is that Wan-Bissaka now into the box with Bruno Fernandes? Spreads it over to Rashford. Rashford weighing up his options, clips it in the box towards Fred. It's cleared. Wan-Bissaka. Here's Anthony now. Anthony with a curler into the midriff of Karius, not troubling the goalkeeper that one. Also got Bruno Guimaraes, who lost a French League Cup final. Joe Linton lost an Austrian Cup final. Kieran Trippier lost in the Champions League final with Tottenham a few years back. It just pales in comparison to some of the winners on the Manchester United side. Anthony winning some cups with Ajax, as did Lisandro Martinez. Got Marcel Sabitzer, who won an Austrian Cup. Varane won the Spanish Cup. So a wealth of experience from one side to the other. But Newcastle will be hoping this is just the first of many big days and a not a one-off. Is Isak now running forward? Strong run, blocked off by Casemiro. It'll be a throw in now on the right-hand side for Newcastle. As Isak turns, lovely turn inside. Looks for Callum Wilson. It's good defending by Varane. Yep. So it'll be a throw in to Newcastle once more on the right. And it's Kieran Trippier who will take. He's not got much in the way of options here though. Trippier looks for Almiron. Casemiro again with the interception. And Bruno Fernandes can launch clear towards Weghorst, who will chase Sven Botman here. That's good defending from Botman. And he squares up to Weghorst, two Dutchmen. But both kept their cool. And Karius now sweeps the ball forwards to St. Maximin. St. Maximin turns inside away from Wan-Bissaka. That's a good challenge from Wan-Bissaka. Winning the back high up, and there's a real chance here for Manchester United. Weghorst. Oh, and the ball's blocked. Manchester United screaming for a penalty off Botman, but the referee ways play on it will be checked, of course. As Newcastle come up the other end now through Almiron, and that's a foul by Luke Shaw, and he'll be doing well to avoid a yellow card here. You would imagine, stopping the flow of a Newcastle attack. Doesn't seem to be one forthcoming from David Coote. But instead, it is a free kick for Newcastle, and this is a good position. It's wide enough that Trippier will be able to get some good shape on the ball into the box towards the likes of Isak and Botman, Dan Burn. Be looking to make amends for his earlier header. It's been a good pace to the start of the second half, much like the first. But can Newcastle capitalise now and get back into this game? Trippier shapes up on the right. Plenty to aim for in the middle. That's a great delivery. It's a good header out by Wan-Bissaka. Isak heads it back in there. Shaw gets his head on that. And Fred completes the clearance. It will come back again through Joelinton charging forward. Fouled by Anthony, but the ref waves play on. Joelinton scoops it forward for Almiron, but that ball runs through to David De Gea, and the attack breaks down. Manchester United get going again fairly quickly through Raphael Varane. Varane carries the ball out, looks for Wan-Bissaka, who tries to play it back to Varane but loses out. And now Newcastle can come with Isak. Isak taking off Fred. Finds St. Maximin out wide. St. Maximin 1v1 against Wan-Bissaka. Oh, and St. Maximin's got that horribly wrong. Shaping up the cross with his left foot, and the ball came off his standing right foot before he could swing at it, and it's out for a goal kick. That's unlucky from the Frenchman. Wan-Bissaka, of course, will be quite a good 1v1 defender, so he won't be too phased by St. Maximin, and he, of course, doesn't have the yellow card on his shoulder to worry about. As we get back underway through De Gea, looking for Anthony. Anthony keeps it in, but gives it away. It might not have been the wisest move. Here's Callum Wilson now shaping the shoot. Turns back. Guimaraes to Almiron. Trippier. Trippier with a cross. A chance. And it's good defending from Raphael Varane. Or sorry, it was Lisandro Martinez up against Callum Wilson. Wilson went in high, and I don't know whether he's been penalised for the high boot or it's just given as a goal kick. We'll see now. This ball came in there. And look, if it's given as a goal kick, it looks like the right decision. It's good defending from Martinez. Looks like the last touch came off Callum Wilson. Newcastle don't agree, but it will be a goal kick. And that looks like the right call from David Coote and his officials. De Gea will launch this long. to get us back underway. 7 minutes into the second half. Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. Live commentary for the Commentary Hub today with myself, Sean Kelly, your alternative commentator. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Commentary Hub, or you find us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. I'll be interested to hear any of your thoughts on those platforms. As Martinez has the ball now, finds Rashford. Rashford linking up with Shaw, attacking the Newcastle area. Here's Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes with a shot, and that's harmless and well over the crossbar. And he's looking for the corner, and I do think that's been given. Fernandes complained and went looking for it, and I think the officials have agreed there. It must have taken a deflection on the way. It will be a Manchester United corner, which Luke Shaw trudges over to take on the right-hand side. So it'll be an in-swinger from Luke Shaw. Of course, his delivery brought about the opening goal. So can he get another assist to his name and get a third for Manchester United? Deep, this one. It's dealt with at the back post by Dan Burn, but it will be another corner as the pressure ramps up here on Newcastle. This is something that they need to see out if they're to stand any chance of getting back into this game. And Bruno Fernandes will take this corner. The right-hand side, Rashford comes over for the short option, which they thought about, and now it looks like they thought better of. Now they've taken it short. Shaw clips it in, flicked on, but dealt with easily by Karius. Weghorst's header. Karius with a throw out to Dan Burn as Newcastle look to start launching some more attacks as they seek a way back into this cup final. Looking for a first domestic trophy since 1955. They won the UEFA Fairs Cup in 1969, which was a predecessor of the UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, as many know it. It's a long, long time without a major trophy for a one-club city like Newcastle. Wilson looks to find Almiron there. It's dealt with by Manchester United, but it's back home Newcastle with Trippier to Almiron. And Manchester United's off the ball work has been excellent today. The likes of Shaw and Casemiro, and they've just blocked off any avenues for Newcastle to really exploit. He's Guimaraes to Trippier. Trippier adds great battling from Marcus Rashford, and he wins I think it's given as a free kick, is it, against the Newcastle right back? Great battling either way from Marcus Rashford, happy to do the defensive work as well as contributing at the other end as he has done all season. It's a throw in to Manchester United through Luke Shaw. Shaw finds Weghorst. Shaw again sends it forward, but that will run all the way through to Karius, who gets Newcastle going once more. It's Sven Botman now. Botman goes long, looking for St. Maximum. He should keep this in. He's unable to through under severe pressure from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And it will be a Manchester United throw. Strong defending there from the fullback, who, as I mentioned a while ago, has undergone a bit of a renaissance in recent months. In fact, he's lucky there. It isn't given as a free kick, but performances have much improved. He undergone a couple of seasons of struggles there, really, after his move from Crystal Palace, but looks to be getting back to his best now. Here's Almiron for Newcastle. Look to go wide right, but no options. There's St. Maximum now into the penalty area. St. Maximum checks back and cannot find Dan Burn with the pass, and Anthony deals with that, but Burn wins it back, and St. Maximum again now. Here's Joe Linton. Bruno Guimaraes. Lovely turn in the box. It's been crowded out here. Burn. That's good defender from Fred. Stepping across Dan Burn, getting the ball, and now it'll be a Manchester United throw in. Guimaraes with a challenge, and he's really hurt himself with this one. This is right ankle. Whatever he's managed to do in trying to block that ball. He's writhing in pain. And again, this will be a concern for Newcastle fans. There's lovely feet from the Brazilian in the box to try and engineer some space, but he's just crowded out. And Byrne tried to engineer something himself, but it was Fred who was in the way. Let's have a look now at that challenge. Hard to see what exactly it is that Guimaraes has done there, but he's certainly in some discomfort as he gets treated now by the physio. And that's not a change Eddie Howe will be looking to make at this stage of the game. A reminder, today's Player of the Match sponsor on the Hub is sponsored by Commentary Services. And Commentary Services would like to thank our broadcast partners for this season, JB Sports and Storm FM. Newcastle fans try to rouse their team here into a stirring second half comeback. Not much in the way of chances for Eddie Howe's men so far in the second half. As we approach the 59th minute of the game. And you wonder, will they look to the bench again? Maybe someone like Joe Willock or Jacob Murphy just to change things. Almiron's been very quiet in the second half, not getting much in the way of chances. Here he is now, though. Finds Isak. Isak back to Almiron, who drifts wide left to try and get into the game. Here's St. Maximum. Checks back, finds Byrne. Byrne to Guimaraes. Back to St. Maximum again. This is nice football. Oh, and a move breaks down once more. Just a lack of communication there between Alan St. Maximum and Alexander Isak. And that will be very frustrating for Newcastle supporters. This ball runs through for a goal kick for Manchester United. So we look at Casemiro, scorer of the opening goal. Avram Glazer is in the crowd today. Manchester United's co-chairman. And another man with big decisions to make in the coming weeks as they contemplate the sale of the club. Of course, confirmed bidder so far are a Qatari businessman and Jim Ratcliffe, the owner of Ineos. That is a worry or discussion that Manchester United fans will be having for another day. Today it's all about the League Cup and getting that first trophy in the bag since 2017 and a first under Eric Ten Hag. It'll be a nice thing for a manager to knock off early in his tenure. It's the first available trophy, and to claim it after just 8 months in charge would be a nice thing for any manager. Martinez goes down theatrically there under the challenge from Almiron, but it'll be a throw in and nothing more. So we're past the hour mark now. 61 minutes played. Manchester United looking very comfortable here. 2 goals, leading by 2-0. It was a scoreline they beat Newcastle in the final in 1999, and Newcastle also lost by the same scoreline the year before against Arsenal, as Arsenal clinched the double. So it's been a very unhappy run at Wembley for the team from the northeast. They've lost 8 in a row at the National Stadium. We'll be desperate to avoid a 9th here, but it's not looking good at the minute. It's Byrne on the ball now to St. Maximum. St. Maximum finds Joe Linton. Back to Byrne. Byrne to Botman. It's Joe Linton. It's very good again from Wan-Bissaka. Tries to win the ball high. Puts Newcastle under pressure. Karius now. Karius goes long. Safety first. Looks for Wilson. Strong header from Martinez. And it's Anthony. Anthony loses out to St. Maximum. And that's brilliant from the winner. Can he keep it in? He can. Driving towards the box now, gets away from Anthony. Alan St-Maximin, but the pass lets him down once more. But here's Isak. Alexander Isak into the penalty area. Looking for some support. Isak still on the ball. Finds Guimaraes, but Manchester United with through Fred. Come out of that unscathed, and it's back now with Luke Shaw, who completes the clearance and finds Bruno Fernandes, who looked to help Rashford get on his way there, but it's a strong challenge from Joe Linton to put a stop to that. It's a bit better for Newcastle, but that final pass from Alan St-Maximin just isn't quite clicking at the minute, despite him probably being their brightest spark. Isak has done okay since coming on. Throw in now around the halfway mark to Trippier. Trippier goes back to Fabian Schär. You can't control that, but there's no Manchester United player anywhere near him, so no harm done. Botman now back to Schär. Schär finds Trippier. Trippier sends it forward to Isak. Lovely control. Finds St-Maximin on the left. St-Maximin into the penalty area. What can he conjure up here? Forced backwards. There's Joe Linton to Almiron. Again, look at the shape from Manchester United. Everyone back behind the ball, making life very difficult for Newcastle to conjure up anything. Almiron. Give and go. Still has it here, Miguel Almiron into the penalty area. Shoots. It's blocked and it's cleared away by Wan-Bissaka, and now Rashford can lead the counter-attack. Rashford up against Schär. That's a very good challenge from Fabian Schär, the Newcastle captain. Absolutely fantastic defender from the Swiss international. And goes on looking for St-Maximin with a diagonal. Good defender from Wan-Bissaka under pressure, but St-Maximin won't let him rest. Into the box, Alan St-Maximin. Still got it. Good defender from Wan-Bissaka. St-Maximin G's up the crowd. Tries to get some support for his teammates. He has been bright. He's just lacking that end product at the minute, but can't really fault the efforts of the Frenchman. Wan-Bissaka has dealt with him well, though, since coming on. As Trippier comes over to take this corner from the left-hand side. Be an in-swinger towards the considerable height from the Newcastle attack. Goes short to Almiron. Trippier again. That is strange to say the least. Goes way back towards Botman, I think. Back to Trippier again. Kind of back where they started now. Oh, and he nutmegs Lisandro Martinez and looks for the free kick, but nothing doing from David Coote as Martinez clears. But Newcastle will come again now through Almiron. Looks to up the tempo. Almiron to Isak. Isak tries to find Wilson. It's an important header out there by Varane. Here come Newcastle again. Shaw this time with a header. The flag goes up for offside, but David Coote happy for play to continue through Weghorst. Oh, and he just can't find Rashford. And I don't know if play has been brought back for the earlier offside. There's a yellow card been given there to Sven Botman. And I could see why he's aggrieved if it has been brought back for the offside, because there was plenty of advantage played there. And this is for that foul by Alexander Isak, which we're just seeing on Fred. But no, I don't think so. I think it's just for throwing the ball away. So Botman joins Joe Linton in the book. It's 2 bookings for either side now, but Diogo Dalot has already left the field. Fred is the other Manchester United player in the book. As Newcastle have it now through Botman. Finds St-Maximin. Turning. Looking to get away from Wan-Bissaka, but it's a good challenge again by the Manchester United defender, but it comes back for an earlier foul from the fullback. So this will be a Newcastle free kick. 67 minutes gone here. Manchester United line up a double change with Scott McTominay and Marcel Sabitzer about to enter the fray. And having a guess here, you would think Fred on a yellow card might be one of the players to make way, despite playing well. And perhaps maybe Anthony, who's finding his way back to fitness. Ball comes forward, De Gea with a punch. Here's Joelinton on the turn. Joelinton with a shot's blocked. Comes to Wilson. Joelinton again. Oh, it's blocked again. Brilliant defending from Manchester United. That's better from Newcastle. There was Martinez and Varane between them. But that's the best they've managed in the second half. Joelinton from the sharp turn. Blocked on the first occasion. And then blocked once more on the second. Fairly sure the second one was from Martinez. It's a corner. Trippier takes. Deep towards the back post. Newcastle get ahead on it. But there's a foul somewhere in the middle. And it'll be a free kick to Manchester United. Eddie Howe complains to the fourth official. But as these changes now take place. First off, we've got Sabitzer, who is indeed coming on for Fred. Sabitzer is coming on loan in January from Bayern Munich and has had a decent impact so far, steady influence, while McTominay is coming on for Wout Weghorst by the looks of it. So that will see a change of shape for Manchester United. You imagine that Marcus Rashford will now go through the middle. So there's Fred gone, Sabitzer on. As McTominay looks to make his entry, and it is Weghorst who's gone off. Again, a quiet day in front of goal. He's had a couple of efforts saved by Loris Karius, but he has contributed to the all-round performance and departs the field just before the 70th minute as Manchester United look to solidify even more in the middle with Sabitzer, McTominay and Casemiro now forming what looks a strong centre of that midfield. You've got Anthony, Bruno Fernandes and Rashford ahead. So you would imagine Rashford would now go through the middle with Fernandes possibly operating from the left. Here's Joelinton now to Dan Burn. Is he going to get there first? He does. Strong challenge from Burn. Almost got St. Maximin away there, but just too much on it. Comes through to David De Gea. De Gea puts that one long. And looking at the stats there, Manchester United haven't had a shot in the last 10 minutes or a touch even in Newcastle's box. It has been a good spell for the Magpies, but hasn't yielded a goal, and that's what they really, really need at this stage. As Anthony sends that one out of play, trying to find Wan-Bissaka. Manchester United have just lost their way a little bit, hence the changes from Ten Hag, but won't be too concerned with what they've seen from Newcastle themselves. Here's Bruno Fernandes now. Shaw is coming on the overlap. That's a very ambitious pass and doesn't find the England fullback. It's out for a goal kick. Fernandes may have been better off just holding on to that one a little bit and playing a simpler pass into the feet of Luke Shaw rather than the elaborate scoop over the defence. Botman goes along, looking for St. Maximin. Good chest control, finds Isak. Back to St. Maximin again. St. Maximin, the pass again lets him down. Just can't find Almiron. It's Joelinton now. Finds St. Maximin wide. This is more like what he wants. 1v1 against Anthony. Inside to Joelinton. He's Bruno Guimaraes. Great pass for Trippier. This is a real chance. Oh, and De Gea intercepts, but the flag's gone up for offside against Kieran Trippier in the middle. Well, that was good football from Newcastle. Trippier just went a fraction too early. That was strong goalkeeping as well from De Gea. Let's take nothing away from him. As we see, oh, it is tight. He is offside, but not much in that. That's excellent goalkeeping from De Gea to prevent the ball reaching Alexander Isak, which would have been a tap-in for the Swedish striker. Great pass from Guimaraes as well, and build up to that move. Trippier wins the header, tries to find Almiron, but it'll go for a Manchester United throw-in. 72 minutes gone here. It's Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0 in the 2023 League Cup final at Wembley. Shaw now takes the throw-in. Sabitzer grapples with Joe Linton. And now Newcastle get going again with Martinez with the header, as he so often does. And now here come Newcastle through Fabian Schär. It's a great challenge for Sabitzer and feeds Rashford. Rashford 1v1 against Botman. Marcus Rashford with a shot saved by Karius. Strong hand from the German goalkeeper. It was back into a dangerous area. Newcastle had enough defenders to deal with it. Now it's Luke Shaw. Shaw with a chance. Great defending again. I think it was from Botman that time. And it'll be a Manchester United throw-in. Well, that could have been curtains for Newcastle there, as Rashford looked to get a second of the game. Sabitzer had won it well in midfield and set the in-form England international on his way. As we see again there, challenge on Fabian Schär, who was then out of position. Rashford did well, but that is a decent save from Karius, that. One-handed, and then Newcastle defence dealt with it. And they've given it away again here, and it's a waste from Sabitzer. Blasted over the bar when well placed on the edge of the area, but that's careless defending again from Newcastle. Sabitzer just leaning back as he hit that one. Never really close to troubling Loris Karius, who will now get ready to take the goal kick. Sabitzer realizes that was perhaps a better opportunity than he first realized. Newcastle have about just over 15 minutes now of normal time, plus whatever the referee adds on, to try and give Manchester United something to think about here. Force their way back into this game. Almiron tries to win the header. Doesn't do so. And now the ball ricochets. Here's a chance. Callum Wilson in the area, faced up by Varane. Wilson tries to find Isak, but again, good defender from Manchester United, just cutting off the supply. It's Joe Linton now. Coming forward, Joe Linton to Isak. Lets it run for St. Maximin. It's given away. It's quite sloppy possession here from both teams at the minute. Joe Linton again. And that will be a Manchester United throw-in. Bruno Guimaraes complains. He's Wan-Bissaka looking to burst forward. It's a good defender from Byrne. Here comes McTominay now, and it's a good challenge from Dan Byrne again. Strong defending there from the former Brighton man. It'll be a throw-in though to Manchester United in the attacking third, which Aaron Wan-Bissaka will make his way over to take. Wan-Bissaka does take short to Anthony. Wan-Bissaka finds McTominay. McTominay back to Rashford. Wan-Bissaka, Rashford inside the penalty area. Forced backwards to Casemiro. Good pass looking for Anthony. Bruno Guimaraes tries to clear it, and it's a free kick to Newcastle. He's kind of bought that foul more than anything, but it does give them a chance to clear their lines. As we see Jacob Murphy and Joe Willock stripped and ready to go, as they try and make an impact off the bench here for Newcastle. Here's Isak now to Guimaraes. Looks to find Isak again, but it's blocked off in midfield. And here's Anthony now on the ball. Casemiro goes long. You can see what he's trying there, looking for Bruno Fernandes. Is he onside? Holds up the ball well. Here's Sabitzer. Sabitzer with another strike. It's blocked by Botman. Here's Rashford. Back to Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United happy to take their time now in these areas. Slow things down. Rashford again. Cutting inside, but it's blocked off by Trippier. Now Almiron back to Trippier. And Joe Linton, and that's quite tidy from Newcastle to get out of that scenario. And they go long now with Botman. And that's a good searching pass looking for St. Maximin. De Gea comes out and does sweep up well there at the cost of a throw-in. But we saw that at the Newcastle end last week against Liverpool, and Nick Pope made a mess of things, so De Gea did well there. So here comes Jacob Murphy coming in for St. Maximin. St. Maximin has been bright, but too often has not been able to find his teammates with the pass in decisive areas. Murphy on now with a note from Jason Tyndall, who's going to pass on, and Bruno Guimaraes is the other player to make way. He's gone down a couple of times with injuries today, and he makes way for Joe Willock. So Murphy goes over and speaks to Miguel Almiron. So some sort of tactical change there, you'd think. Perhaps Almiron's going to go to the left-hand side now, as Dan Burn winds up for a long throw. Kicks over one of the pitch side microphones and hurls the ball into the area. Flicked on, but Anthony can come away with that and finds Bruno Fernandes with a nice pass, and this is big trouble here for Newcastle. Bruno Fernandes charging towards goal. He's got Rashford in support, and that's a vital touch by Trippier, I think it was, to take it back to Karius. Good defending there from Newcastle as they faced a dangerous counter-attack. They need to get going now at the other end themselves. Here comes Trippier. Trippier inside to Isak. He's gone quiet in the last 10 or so. That's nice control. Finds Murphy. Murphy checks inside. And goes on the outside this time and fires the ball in. But it's blocked and it'll be a Newcastle corner. Good instant impact from Jacob Murphy there following his arrival from the bench. As we approach the final 10 minutes here of normal time, Newcastle desperately search for a goal to find a route back into this cup final. They'll have a corner. Kieran Trippier will take. Trippier takes it. It's a strange delivery. It's dealt with by Bruno Fernandes. Almiron, I think it was, challenged Fernandes there, went down, but not much in the way of complaints. And Manchester United can come away now with Rashford. Oh, it had to be a vital challenge there from, I think it was Jacob Murphy, and it was. So Newcastle can come again. Isak running at the Manchester United defence. Taking on Casemiro. Casemiro forces him wide. It's Isak again now. Back to Trippier. Trippier to Isak. And that's dealt with once more by Manchester United. But they've given it away. Here comes Joe Willock. Willock goes on the outside. Wan-Bissaka with the defending, and it will be another corner to Newcastle. Be hoping for a better delivery this time. Yeah, it was a coming together between Fabian Schär and Bruno Fernandes. No penalty in my book anyway there. It was just a clash between the two players, honest enough. And Trippier to deliver. Swings it in, headed away by, I think it was Casemiro at the front post. And now here comes Anthony. Manchester United looking dangerous every time they break. And Anthony looks to get away from Murphy. That's excellent defending again. He's really done well since he's come on in a couple of defensive situations and in attack. But you can't help but think that one of those counterattacks is going to click for Manchester United and they are going to kill this game off. As Jadon Sancho now looks to enter the field for the final 8 or 9 minutes, and he'll replace Anthony, who's had a good game on the right hand side of midfield. Not as much of an impact as he had midweek when he scored the winner to knock Barcelona out of the Europa League, but he can be pleased with his display, the Brazilian. And Sancho now will come on. Another player enjoying an upturn in performances in recent weeks after a spell out. Sancho has won a German Cup before with Borussia Dortmund and will be looking to add a winner's medal League Cup winners medal here with Manchester United, the first of many in his eyes. It's Fabian Schär now to Trippier. Trippier spits the ball down the line looking for Wilson, but strong defender from Martinez. And Wilson's got to do more than those situations if he wants to get any change out of the Manchester United central defence. Almiron now on the turn. Coming forward. Finds Trippier. Looks to give it back to Almiron, but it's blocked off, but retains possession. Joelinton. Joelinton back to Botman. Joelinton decides he'll take it on himself. Gives it to Byrne out wide. Byrne cuts back into Willock. Willock switches it and finds Trippier. That's a good pass. Trippier now has a little bit of room. Inside finds Murphy. Murphy fires that one way over the crossbar, and that's the first negative decision or poor decision he's made since he's come on the field. There's players in the box there. Shooting itself wasn't so much the wrong option, but he got that all wrong. Just over 6 minutes left, rather, now before the end of this game. Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. Newcastle fans look glumly on, and it'll be a long way back up the road tonight after this if things stay as they are. The almost 68-year wait will roll on for another year. Throw in now to Newcastle through Kieran Trippier. There's Schär. Schär finds Isak. That's a good pass. Isak on the turn. What can Newcastle do in the final 5 minutes here to try and force something? Burns crosses blocked and it's a corner. Chance for Newcastle again to get players in the box, but the delivery's got to be right. It's not been perfect today from Kieran Trippier. As we see, David De Gea received a booking previously. Trippier now to take the corner. Swings it in. That's a great delivery. It's a great punch from De Gea. Right underneath his own crossbar. That's brilliant goalkeeping from the Spaniard. Almiron sends it back in. Joelinton with a shot. And it's cleared away by Sabitzer after the block. And Sancho now holds the ball up well. And gives it back to Bruno Fernandes. And Fernandes with a fantastic pass to Marcus Rashford. Now what does Rashford do here? Does he slow things up? He does. Well, gives the ball away actually. Reaches Jadon Sancho. It's back to Rashford in space in the area. Rashford. Sancho again. Sancho back to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka with a shot saved by Karius. Karius holds on to that well. Throws it out wide now to Willock. Willock taking on Wan-Bissaka. That's good defending from the Manchester United fullback, and it'll be a throw in to Newcastle. It would have been a rare goal for the former Crystal Palace right back at the other end, but he dwelt on the ball too long, allowed Newcastle to get the block. And Joelinton surely got there first, and he did, and it is going to be a free kick to Newcastle in a decent position. Casemiro with a foul and the yellow card. As we see, Joelinton just got there first, and yeah, correct decision from the referee on both counts, a definite free kick and yellow card for the Brazilian. Of course, scored the opening goal today. And it'll be another opportunity for Kieran Trippier to get the ball in the box. They really need to make one of these count if they can make it a nervy final few minutes. Trippier with the delivery. Shares up there. It's cleared away by Manchester United. Only as far as Jacob Murphy. Murphy runs forward. It's a great strike and it's just wide from the substitute. That's probably as close as Newcastle have come He was a long, long way out there, Jacob Murphy, and after his previous shot, you would think, don't hit that, but wonderful swerving effort there from Murphy. Started out in the middle of the goal and it only just turned past the post. Great effort that. And as we see Harry Maguire on the touchline now, and he makes his way onto the field, replacing Marcus Rashford, who can be happy with his day's work. He's got a goal in a major cup final. So Maguire comes on to help shore up the defence as Manchester United look to see this out. As we approach 88 minutes, it's still Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. And it's about that time of proceedings where we start to think about man of the match, which is sponsored by Commentary Services. So player of the match today for me. A few players have played well. Not many standouts on the Newcastle side, truth be told. They've worked hard enough, but not much in the way of quality as for Manchester United. Anthony's been bright. Luke Shaw has been very solid, but I think I'm going to give it to Casemiro for his impact. Both ends of the pitch, he's scored the opening goal and he's blocked off a lot of attacks. Blotted his copybook slightly with that yellow card there at the end, but couldn't really fault Casemiro. And honourable mention to Lisandro Martinez. It's also been a rock at the back there for Manchester United. But player of the match today, Casemiro for me. As Newcastle we're in the final minute of the 90. Try and find some inroads back into this game. Is Almiron looks to find Isak, but Manchester United deal with it again. Casemiro plays it out wide to Sancho. It's a good defender from Botman. Here comes Willock now. Willock to Byrne. Back to Willock. Space in the middle for Joe Linton, but there's a lot of red shirts between him and goal. Share to Trippier. Trippier wide to Murphy. Back into Fabian Schär. Here's Trippier now. Sends the cross in. Ball ricochets in around the box. But it's comfortably dealt with again by Lisandro Martinez, who has words for Callum Wilson there. Felt Wilson maybe left a bit in on him while the ball had clearly gone. And Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane playing peacemaker, trying to calm the situation. Manchester United don't need anything like that at this point. They'd waste a bit of time, but they don't want to get into any silly arguments that could lead to cards and suspensions further down the line. As we look back at the incident, there's nothing really in that from either man, to be honest. Martinez was a bit too hot-headed and reacting, and Wilson didn't do an awful lot. 5 minutes added on here at the end of the game. Still Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0, as Manchester United close in on a first trophy since 2017. The year they managed to lift 2 in the Europa League and League Cup, and we could see a repeat this year into the last 16 of the Europa League, in the last 16 of the FA Cup. Still perhaps in with a puncher's chance at winning the Premier League, although that does look unlikely. As Newcastle making another couple of changes with Callum Wilson and Almiron coming off for Matt Ritchie and Elliot Anderson. Is Byrne now. Let's find Murphy. Murphy does well, gets away from Maguire, back to Byrne. It's free kick for a handball against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Newcastle need to get on with it though. We've got about 3.5 minutes to go here. Trippier will come over once again to take the free kick, but it really is do or die time now for Newcastle. Luke Shaw in the book. This has got to go in the back of the net if they're to stand any chance of staging a late revival. Free kick comes in. Header by... Oh, it's off the post by Joe Linton, and it's cleared by Maguire. Was it the post or was it a save from De Gea? It was close. Either way. So we look again. Header now. It looks like it hit the crossbar. No, so I take that back. It's an excellent save from De Gea. He's really stepped up today. As Newcastle try to launch some sort of fight back, their fans making a lot of noise and showing their colours here, staying supportive to the very end. Murphy now wins the throw in, perhaps cheaply. 2.5 minutes to go. It's an amazing scene here, the black and white, despite defeat. They sense they will be back. This won't be a one-time thing. Oh, and it's a mistake. And Manchester United could be away here through Bruno Fernandes. This could wrap it up. Bruno, he's got support on either side. Checks back inside. Bruno Fernandes, good save by Karius. That should have been a third, but that's good goalkeeping from the German to keep things at 2-0. But it's a real waste from Bruno Fernandes, who should have done much better. The pass to him in the build-up isn't brilliant. Kind of forces his run to hold back a bit, but he does well, keeps his composure, which should finish after that. It's a good save from Karius. But Manchester United won't be too concerned as it's a corner. It's a chance to waste time, and really at this point the game is up for Newcastle. They go for the short one here and run into the corner. They will. Sabitzer back. Here's a chance in the box. It'll be another corner. Scott McTominay looking to get away in the area and get himself a goal. But again, of no real concern to Manchester United at this point. It's just about getting over the line and getting that elusive trophy. And there'll be big celebrations tonight in London, in Manchester, and on the way up the road. Throw in now to Manchester United with about 50 seconds left here. Throw in off the back of Sabitzer, but it's now a Newcastle ball. 2017, Jose Mourinho was manager. The last time they won trophy, they defeated Ajax in the Europa League final. They defeated Southampton that year in the League Cup final also. And now they will be back with silverware in hand again today. First half goals from Casemiro and Marcus Rashford going to make the difference as Newcastle's big day looks to end in disappointment. And that is it. The referee has blown the full-time whistle and Manchester United have won the 2023 League Cup, defeating Newcastle by 2-0. The damage was done and a quick spell in the first half. A header by Casemiro from a Luke Shaw free kick and a deflected effort from Marcus Rashford. And Manchester United have won the League Cup for the first time since 2017. It's their first trophy since that year when they won the Europa League. And they will head back north in a celebratory mood, unlike their opponents today, Newcastle, whose wait for a domestic trophy rolls on. 1955 is the last time they've won it. They'd hoped to end that drought today, but it was not to be. David De Gea was in good form in the Manchester United goal, dealing with whatever he needed to do, but in truth, Newcastle just didn't do enough. It was a scrappy enough encounter, but first half, United were clinical, took their chances. Rashford gets his goal in a cup final. And it's the red side of the stadium that'll be victorious today. And is this the first of many this season for Manchester United? As mentioned, still in all 4 competitions. And they turn their attention now to lifting this trophy. And then Wednesday night, they'll host West Ham as they look to continue their path in the FA Cup. Newcastle now will just solely focus for the rest of the season on getting into the top 4. They've lost a little bit of ground again today with Tottenham defeating Chelsea, but that will be their main aim now for the rest of the season. It's been an intriguing game here at Wembley. Manchester United have come out on top by 2-0, and I will hand you back now to your host, Paul.
Thanks, Sean. We'll just stick with you just a moment. I'm going to just ask you, you chose Casemiro as the man of the match. Can I ask, what was your reasoning behind that?
I just thought, I thought he was excellent. I mean, obviously the goal, that header was very good. He looked like he was kind of off balance as he took it. But just even in the 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes after the goal, he was very noticeable. He was getting in the way of everything. Every time Newcastle tried to launch an attack or get going again, he was just there. It wasn't anything spectacular. He was just in the right place at the right time. And then he was geeing up the fans. He's just got a winner's mentality. It's the same with Varane, coming in from Real Madrid. They've been there, done that. This is, with all due respect to the League Cup, this is small fry for the likes of those two. But you wouldn't have known it today, the way they played. Lissandro Martinez was close. I thought he was excellent, especially in the second half. He seemed to be in the way of everything. But Casemiro just about edged him on the day.
Right. Well, I actually agree with you, Sean. I thought he was man of the match as well. I thought he was quite outstanding. Turning to Manchester United's performance as a whole, based on the comparison from the start of the season, where Manchester United was a bit of a mess, what do you think the improvement has been, and what changes do you think Eric Ten Hag has made to improve this Manchester United team?
Well, Casemiro himself is an obvious one. Him coming in, he wasn't there for the first few games of the season, so he alone has improved this team quite a bit. But Ten Hag's just got to grips with them a bit, and I mean, there's another obvious thing that happened midway through the season with Cristiano Ronaldo leaving. I don't think it would be controversial at this point to say he wasn't a good influence on that squad. This the team look more free now. They seem to be able to, like, Marcus Rashford has come on leaps and bounds since he's gone. He is the star of that team now, along with Bruno Fernandes. And they just look, I'll not quite say the Manchester United of old, but they definitely look in the best shape they've been for a considerable number of years. Ten Hag has done an excellent job. The team spirit there is clear to see. Tactically, he's done very well. I do think today they weren't brilliant, but they didn't need to be. They did what they needed to do. They took the two chances when they came and then defended pretty well to hold Newcastle off. I think it was one of those days where Newcastle could have played till tomorrow and not scored. It just wasn't their day.
And finally, Sean, Karius's performance. He made some 3 or 4 excellent saves in that game. It actually could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, Karius can leave with his head held high. It's not quite the. I bigged it up a lot talking to people during the week. The whole redemption angle, I just got a bit caught up in it because I felt what happened to him could happen to any goalkeeper, and it's a shame his career has gone the way it did. But I think he did himself proud today. I mean, he was the least of Newcastle's problems again there at the end. It should have been 3-0 from Bruno Fernandes, but Karius held firm, and then he made an outstanding save in the first half from Veghorst. So he really should be happy with himself. It's just an odd one now because he's not going to be playing next week. Pope will be back. Dubravka will be back on the bench. So where do you go from here? Do you consider yourself content with being a third choice goalkeeper and never really being needed, or do you look to go elsewhere in the summer and test yourself again? He might have got the playing today, might have given him that buzz back again, and he might now want to go and see what he can do.
Well, he certainly put himself in the shop window. Thank you, Sean. I'll just go through these scores from the rest of the day's play, and then we'll go back to Sean for the presentation of the trophy. So today in the Premier League, if you didn't hear earlier on, Spurs beat Chelsea 2-0, piling the pressure on Graham Potter. In League 1, Lorient 0, Auxerre 1. AC Alassio 2, Troyes 1, Clermont 1, Strasbourg 1, Nantes 0, Reims 1, Rennes, sorry, Nantes 0, Rennes 1, I'm sorry, Reims 3, Toulouse 0, and Monaco 0, Nice 3. Of course, Marseille and Paris Saint-Germain will go head-to-head tonight at 7:45 UK time. In the Bundesliga, 2 results: Freiburg 1, Bayer Leverkusen 1, Bayern Munich winning the game of the day in Germany 3-0 over Union Berlin. And in Serie A, there's still some matters need to be resolved there. Bologna 1, Internazionale 0. Salernitana 3, Monza 0. Udinese 2, Spezia 2, and AC Milan and Atalanta will meet tonight at 7:45 UK time in San Siro Stadium. In Scotland, the League Cup final was there as well. It's Rangers 1, Celtic 2. And finally, in La Liga, Atletico Bilbao 2, Girona 3. Celta Vigo 3, Valladolid 0, Almeria 1, Barcelona 0 so far, but only 8 minutes gone in the second half there. Sevilla and Osasuna will meet tonight at 8 p.m. UK time. We're going to go back to Sean because the trophy presentation is coming up. Right now, Newcastle are just heading up the stairs to get their runners-up medals. Take it away, Sean.
That's a lonely walk there for the Newcastle players, but they can only hope that they'll learn from this and get what's the term, I suppose, like whet the appetite for more. You can't have this to be a one-off. This has got to be something that Newcastle look to build upon now and just be a stumbling block on their way to more success, especially for the fans. They had a great day out. It's been somewhat soured now by the results, but they'll want more of this in the future as we see the players make their way over for their runners-up medal led by Kieran Trippier and Dan Byrne. They meet Amanda Stavely, the co-owner of Newcastle United. And now this is the one part of football you don't want to be. Those players will want to be anywhere else but that in that stand now, getting those runners-up medals. And of course, the intriguing wrinkle on today's storyline is Martin Dubravka, the Newcastle United sub-goalkeeper, will be eligible for a medal for Manchester United. So you would like to think that he's not going to run in the Newcastle changing room celebrating later on, but a joke with that one. I'm sure he'll take no pleasure in this today. But it is a rather peculiar element to everything. Eddie Howe was looking to become the first English manager since Steve McLaren to claim a winner's medal, but not to be. McLaren will get one as he's on Eric Ten Hag's coaching staff. His Middlesbrough side beat Bolton 2-0 back in 2004. As we see Howe and Jason Tyndall meet with the club ownership there. Howe's done a fantastic job since coming in at Newcastle, and even getting to this cup final has been something to be proud of. And now the players make their way back down the steps and prepare for the long journey back up north as they turn their attention now again to league matters. But now it will be the turn of Manchester United to engage in celebrations. It'll be the 6th time they've won the League Cup. Only Liverpool and Manchester City have won it more. And it's their 5th League Cup final victory in a row, stretching back to 2003 when they lost to Liverpool. Since that time, they have, as I say, won it 5 times. Today, they beat Southampton, beat Aston Villa in the final, beat Tottenham in a final. It's been an excellent record in this tournament. And David De Gea, Marcus Rashford, and Anthony Martial, the only players who played in that last final, as their players make their way up the steps, and it's a much different walk. They've got a sprint in their step, led by Harry Maguire. He's been through a difficult spell himself personally, but he's the one leading the charge up that field, or up that stand. You got to think the likes of Alessandro Martinez as well. What a year he's having. He's won the World Cup with his country, come into a new club, excelled at the heart of the defence, and now has a League Cup winners medal to go to add to his collection. having won the Dutch Cup with Ajax in 2021. Casemiro, a serial winner, won several Champions Leagues. This is his first taste of victory in England. So already you could say it's been a successful spell. I mean, this is what it's all about. People talk about the finances and the Champions League and qualifying, getting the top four, but at the end of the day, for players and fans, it's moments like this that you'll remember. I don't think too many fans will remember the years where you finished third and qualified for the Champions League. I mean, it's good for the financials, but stuff like this sticks out in the memory. Big days out in London, only when you win, of course, but day out, National Stadium, trophy, sitting with your friends and family celebrating. It really doesn't get much better than this when it comes to being a supporter. Bruno Fernandes now walks over, starts off the receiving of the winners' medals, followed by Casemiro, Diogo Dalot, who only managed to play the first half today after receiving a yellow card. Maguire is there too. He's received his. He makes his way over to. He will get his hands on the trophy himself and Bruno Fernandes. No sign of Martin Dubravka up there, wisely. The celebrations will go on long into the night, I'm sure. Erik ten Hag really galvanised the Manchester United support. He's got, I would say, almost universal popularity among the fans since he's come in. They know he inherited a bit of a mess, but it's that time now anyway. We've got Maguire and Fernandes are going to share duties here. They both have their hands on the trophy. And Manchester United are the 2023 League Cup champions as Maguire and Fernandes hold the trophy aloft. And is this going to be a sign of things to come? Is this a sign that a once great club are getting back on their perch once more after 6 years without a trophy victory and a couple of agonising final defeats? Manchester United are back on the winning stage, and they will be hoping this is just a taste of what's to come in this season and the seasons to come. Raphael Varane, no stranger to these kind of scenes, time with Real Madrid and with France. And it's another happy day and a glittering career for the Frenchman. As we see De Gea there, holding the trophy aloft as he did in 2017. Everyone's going to get their turn at this. Diogo Dalot. It's nice for the players, nice for the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka to get a feel for the trophy. It's great days. You never know in football, things can change in an instant. Your career could turn very quickly, so you make the most of these kind of occasions. Marcus Rashford, I'm sure when they won in 2017, they thought this may have been the start of another dynasty, but not on that occasion. So you really do cherish the days like this. And that brings us to the end of today's coverage. It's been a pleasure to bring you the first final of the season. Thanks very much for listening in. I will pass you back to Paul now, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Sean. So we are running out of time, so I'm just going to run through something really quickly. This week is FA Cup week on the Hub, so Fulham versus Leeds on Tuesday with Nick and myself. On Wednesday, Burnley versus Fleetwood, TC Hub 2 only, with Russ and myself. The rest of the network will have Manchester United versus West Ham, with Nick presenting and Trevor Sports in the commentary chair. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Sean Kelly for his excellent commentary, Nick for producing. I also want to congratulate Manchester United and Erik ten Hag on their first cup victory. And for Newcastle, the long wait goes on, but with the investment in that club, I don't see it going on for much longer. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.